This is Swim, Success with Music. Yo, what's going on, music fam? This is Success with Music. I am Walt. I am your music coach, your cold temperature dweller. You're just moved into a new house, but may have to leave for warmer weather seller. Man, this cold temperature right here. Oh my goodness. Hey, let's dive in. Hey, I appreciate you guys tuning into the podcast today, man. This is Walt. This is Swim, Success with Music. This is a podcast for singers, musicians, beat makers, writers, producers. Yo, we are about that music life. And hey, man, I am super excited for today because we have a special guest, and that special guest is Bobby Borg. We're going to get to that interview in just a moment, man. Bobby is a beast. He's a music marketing specialist. He's a musician. He knows about how to get your music out there in front of the right people. He knows how to build audiences, gain fans. So, man, you want to tune into this episode today. Share the episode, man, because Bobby will be dropping some serious knowledge. All right, before we get to Bobby's segment here in his interview, I always like to start the show with some fun and interesting information. And so at the time when this podcast is being recorded, Bitcoin is headed downhill. So if you're familiar, Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency everyone's been talking about. Maybe you have too. Did you buy any? I'm not going to lie. I want some. I don't have any. But as the Bitcoin, as it's risen in terms of value, everyone wanted to get in because it's like, man, if I invested X right now, it'll be whatever times X. But that is actually going the opposite way. Now it's not as hot. Apparently some regulation issues or scares are kind of pushing the value back. I didn't want to really focus in on the Bitcoin thing specifically, but Bitcoin, again, is a cryptocurrency, and it's just I'm going to give you my definition here. It's kind of an online or virtual monetary system that allows for quick and trusted transfers for money. But here's why I'm bringing this to the podcast today. I'm thinking, Bitcoin, that has nothing to do with that music life, but there is a cryptocurrency crossover for us musicians. Hey, I'm going to read you an article from a website called payments.com. They spell their website PYMNTS.com. So again, this article segment comes from payments.com. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read some information about cryptocurrency. And just a quick FYI, cryptocurrency, the technology behind it, it's called blockchain. So again, I'm not going to go deep into that. It's just way too complicated. So just keep it in mind as I read this little segment. All right, here we go. There are a few blockchain-based solutions for getting musicians paid out more easily for the content they create. As of last week, Bitmark, a crypto startup that uses blockchain technology to enable property rights for digital assets, has partnered with Asia's largest streaming platform, KKBox, to create a mechanism for artists to see instant payments when their songs are streamed on the service. All right, so that's the end of that little segment there. So the point being is that, the Bitcoin craze is actually spawning some other things out there, meaning as you're putting your music up online and people purchase it, man, you can wind up getting instant payment versus waiting for the payments to be collected and it going through some type of credit card entity. Maybe in the future, instead of money, man, we'll be getting that cryptocurrency. And hopefully it's not Bitcoin as of right now. If it turns around, then I'm all about that Bitcoin life. But with that, man, let's go ahead and get into our main segment for today. I mentioned that we have a special guest on the line today. It is Bobby Borg. That's B as in boy, O-R-G. Bobby is a music specialist, and his area of expertise is music marketing. And for today's segment, you're going to hear some inside information that comes directly from Bobby's new book. It's called Music Marketing for the DIY Musician. You're going to hear a lot about that as we go along, and also some insight that you can use to help push your brand, your band, your persona, your performance, your act, whatever, to the next level. Give it a bigger audience. Man, let's get into it. Hey, Swim audience, this is Walt. This is Success with Music, and we have an incredibly special guest today. His name is Bobby Borg. Bobby Borg is the author of Music Marketing for the DIY Musician. Again, that's Music Marketing for the DIY Musician. I wanted to have Bobby on today because he is an absolute genius when it comes to music marketing. And for those of us who are looking to expand, who is hearing our music, we need resources and tools and insight that will help us get that done. And Bobby is the guy that you absolutely need to listen very closely to today. So Bobby, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you joining the Swim podcast today. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Yes, and thank you very much for having me, and hello to all your guests out there listening.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate that. And again, Bobby is an expert on marketing and music, and I want to jump into a few questions for Bobby today, but I'm hoping that these questions will start to reveal some things that our listening audience need to pay attention to. So with that, I want to jump straight in because Bobby has a wealth of information, and I want to give him enough time to go through a few concepts and a few thoughts about music marketing. So first, Bobby, I want to start off with your book here, which is Music Marketing for the DIY Musician. And I'm going to make this more of a general or broad question, but why should I care about marketing as a DIY musician?
Well, great. Thank you. Good question. Why should you care about marketing? Why should your audience care about marketing? Because essentially, it's not enough just to create art. We have to understand what it is about our art that's going to be special or be important to the people that we'd like to enjoy that art. And we need to actually find ways to actually put it out there so that they can find us, so that they can purchase us, so that they can enjoy us. And all of this has to do with marketing. It's not enough just to sit in your room and create and expect and hope that it's just going to find its way to your audience. You really, really have to go that extra distance to get it out there now. And unfortunately, a lot of artists don't understand that it's a two-step process. It's not just creating. The second part now is presenting it and getting it out there. And unfortunately, a lot of musicians need help on the second part there.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So let me be transparent here. I think that the world of marketing can be really seemingly complicated and large and huge. You know, as a musician, how do I even begin to get my head around that? Do I have to be some type of marketing specialist? Will the folks in our audience, do they have to be marketing specialists? Like, how do you even get into that if you really see yourself more as a musician, not as some type of ad agency guy or gal?
Right. Well, just like anything, we have to work at it, especially in this day and age. We are in an age where most all independent labels, major labels, managers, agents, anyone out there, even film and TV licensing folks, anybody out there that is going to be interested in what you do is going to want to see a story first and foremost. And we have to take charge of creating that story. We have to attract the attention of those that can help us by first helping ourselves. And essentially, this book is about being proactive. It's about rolling up your sleeves. It's about creating your art, and then making sure that it gets out there, that your message and story is told. So there is no other way. We have to do this. Mm-hmm. And simply, we need not necessarily to go to school and get master's degrees in marketing. There's a number of primers on marketing out there that will assist you and get you sort of in the right ballpark. There are free articles out there that you can find on the web. Certainly on my website, mm-hmm. there are courses that you could take at local community colleges. And of course, there's books like mine that you can read as well.
Right. So you're saying that even though I'm not a marketing person, I don't pride myself on being some, ad creating person or whatever, you're saying that I can actually learn this stuff is something that I can dig into and make sense of and actually be good at? Is that possible?
Yes, it is possible. Of course, you're not talking about going out and now working at Universal Records in the marketing department. Mm-hmm. You're talking about having just enough skills to be able to get your stuff out there and to be able to do it in the right way as well. So yes, of course. I mean, think about this. 20 years ago, it was important just to be a good musician. Right. So in other words, when I was coming up, I just practiced my off, if I could say that, on the drums for hours and hours and hours and hours a day, thinking I'm going to be the best drummer. And of course, I understood songwriting as well. So in my groups, I was able to participate in songwriting. But, it stopped for the most part, it stopped with that. In other words, I didn't know how to record. There were no laptops. There was no Pro Tools. Sure. There was no Photoshop to help you create your posters and things like that. But now in this day and age, people are going out and they're learning how to be musicians. They're also learning out how to record. They're learning how to use Photoshop a little bit. And they're going to have to learn how to do some marketing as well. They're going to have to learn how to understand what marketing is. And as you'll see in this interview, mm-hmm. it's a lot broader than you really think. It's not just promotion.
So let me ask you a question then. I've seen this before. Maybe you have too. And I'm speaking for my listening audience here, but what about those instances where, I have a phenomenal song, maybe I put it up on YouTube or some other platform, and it goes viral. Can I just create the music? Maybe people will just share it for me. Can it grow organically? Do I have to get all into this whole marketing thing?
Well, again, a great question. I hear this all the time. As an instructor at Musicians Institute in Hollywood and an instructor at UCLA, mm-hmm. and someone that speaks at panels all over the country, at Berkeley, at University of Miami, etc., I hear this all the time. And with all due respect mm-hmm. to everybody listening, the problem is that all of us think we're good, right? Mm-hmm. All of us think that we create, magic, and all we have to do is sit in our bedrooms and create it and then put it up on, Beatport, or put it up on SoundCloud, or put it up on YouTube, and magically the world is going to take over. Mm-hmm. They're going to discover us. They're going to knock on our door and say, your ship has come in. Right. Yeah. I mean, all of us have that confidence, that drive to believe that we're good. And I don't want to take that away from anybody, but this is where marketing comes in. Marketing comes in not just thinking that you got the goods and putting it up there and wow, it's going to go viral. It's knowing, it's researching, it's getting feedback from professionals, it's getting feedback from your audience, it's understanding to whom precisely you're trying to reach. Sure. So that you can actually find out what it is that they need to push their buttons, and then you can push those buttons. Marketing is about communication. Art is about communication. Right?
Sure.
We don't want to just create stuff and just have it sit in our drawer somewhere or sit on a hard drive somewhere.
Right.
We want to communicate that message with other people. So this is where marketing comes in. We're not hoping. Hope is not a strategy. So yes, certainly it's happened where people have put up videos and it's gone viral and two girls sing a Beyonce